The days following Eleanor's confession are filled with quiet tenderness, but the peace is fragile. The prairie, with all its beauty, cannot shield them from the realities of their worlds. Eleanor's family has begun to notice her frequent absences, and rumors of her unusual companionship are starting to stir. Meanwhile, Tayanita is acutely aware that outsiders observing him may misunderstand his presence near the settler lands. Their love, though deeply felt, exists on a precipice where a single misstep could invite scandal or danger. The tension between heart and circumstance grows heavier with each passing day. One morning, Eleanor ventures to the clearing earlier than usual, hoping to meet Tayanita before word of her absence reaches her family. The prairie is quiet, the wind whispering through the tall grass, yet Eleanor senses a subtle change in the atmosphere. As she moves closer to the stream, she sees Tayanita standing at the edge of the clearing, his gaze fixed on the distant horizon. His posture is tense, alert, as if he senses a presence beyond their immediate surroundings. Eleanor approaches, cautiously, feeling a mix of curiosity and apprehension. Tayanita turns to her, his eyes steady but shadowed with concern. He speaks softly, cautioning her that their time together may soon be threatened. A group of settlers, unaware of his intentions or his character, have begun patrolling the area. Their curiosity, combined with suspicion, could easily escalate into hostility. Eleanor listens intently, her heart tightening with fear, but also with determination. She realizes that love, once confessed, is not only a source of joy, it is a force that must be protected, nurtured, and defended. Despite the looming danger, they decide to meet that day, but with heightened awareness and careful planning. The clearing, once a sanctuary, now feels like the edge of a battlefield. As they walk along the stream, Tayanita teaches Eleanor subtle signs and gestures, ways to communicate silently if someone approaches. Each lesson is a reminder that their love, while private and profound, is vulnerable to the harsh judgments and misunderstandings of the world outside. Eleanor, though initially hesitant, finds a strange exhilaration in this shared vigilance. It binds them closer, creating a sense of partnership that transcends words or simple affection. During a moment of quiet reflection, Eleanor speaks of her fears, not only for herself, but for Tayanita. She worries that their bond, despite its strength, could bring danger to him or compromise his standing with his people. Tayanita listens without judgment, his gaze unwavering. He reassures her that their connection, grounded in honesty and courage, is worth the risk. His steady eyes convey not only love, but also resolve. He will face any threat to protect the woman who has touched his heart so deeply. In this exchange, Eleanor feels the weight of responsibility lifted slightly, replaced by renewed courage and the knowledge that their love is mutual, resilient, and fiercely protected. As the sun begins to set, casting long shadows across the prairie, they sit together by the stream. Eleanor leans against Tayanita, her head resting lightly on his shoulder. The warmth of his presence offers solace, a counterpoint to the uncertainty that surrounds them. They do not speak, for no words are necessary. Their shared heartbeat and the quiet rustle of the grass communicate a depth of understanding impossible to articulate. In this moment, Eleanor realizes that love is not only a feeling, but a choice, a deliberate act of courage, trust, and devotion, especially in the face of adversity. The fragile peace that Eleanor and Tayanita had been cherishing is shattered. One afternoon, by the distant clatter of hooves and the murmur of voices intruding upon their hidden sanctuary, a small group of settlers, unaware of who Tayanita truly is, approaches the clearing in search of supplies, their suspicion and curiosity sharpened by rumors of Eleanor's unusual absences. The prairie, once a refuge of quiet intimacy, now feels tense and precarious. Eleanor feels a surge of fear and protective instinct, realizing that their private world is dangerously exposed. Tayanita reacts with the calm decisiveness that has always defined him. He gestures for Eleanor to remain behind a copse of trees, moving silently to intercept the approaching group. His every movement is measured, fluid, and purposeful, an embodiment of skill, awareness, and quiet authority. Eleanor watches from her hiding place, her pulse racing, torn between the desire to flee and the instinct to protect him. She recognizes that this moment is the first real test of their love in the face of the outside world. When the settlers reach the edge of the clearing, Tayanita meets them with a composed yet commanding presence. He does not speak hastily or aggressively. Instead, his gaze conveys strength and an unspoken warning. The men, initially wary and uncertain, attempt to question him about his intentions and his relationship with Eleanor. Tayanita's responses are careful, measured, and respectful, blending diplomacy with a quiet authority that leaves no room for misunderstanding. Eleanor watches in awe as the man she loves demonstrates not only courage but also wisdom, patience, and the ability to protect what matters most without unnecessary violence. The confrontation escalates subtly when one of the settlers tries to cross the boundary of respect, questioning Eleanor's loyalty to her family. She steps forward from her hiding place, her voice trembling but firm. For the first time, she asserts herself, defending both her feelings and Tayanita's honor. "I choose him," she declares, her words carrying both vulnerability and strength. The settlers are momentarily silenced, caught off guard by the resolve and conviction in her voice. In this act, Eleanor discovers a new dimension of herself, the courage to confront societal expectations and stand openly for love, despite the risks. Tayanita, sensing the tension, places a protective hand near Eleanor without touching her, a silent signal that reassures her. Together, they form an unspoken alliance, a united front against misunderstanding and prejudice. The settlers, recognizing that their presence is unwelcome, yet uncertain how to proceed, eventually retreat, leaving Eleanor and Tayanita alone once again. The clearing, now quiet, feels both triumphant and fragile, a reminder that freedom and love often require vigilance and courage. In the aftermath, Eleanor and Tayanita sit together near the stream, their hands finally meeting in a gentle, reassuring touch. Words are not necessary. The shared experience has deepened their connection, reaffirming the bond that first emerged in whispered confessions. Eleanor feels a mixture of exhilaration and relief. Exhilaration at the courage she has discovered within herself, and relief that Tayanita's calm and unwavering presence continues to anchor her. They exchange stories of their respective lives, reflecting on the challenges they will inevitably face together. In these reflections, Eleanor begins to understand the full depth of Tayanita's resilience and wisdom, and he sees the emerging strength and courage in her that complements his own. As the sun sets, painting the prairie in gold and crimson hues, Eleanor and Tayanita share a quiet moment of intimacy and connection. They speak softly of hopes, fears, and the future, recognizing that their love is not only a refuge, but also a responsibility. They understand that the road ahead will be fraught with obstacles, from family disapproval and cultural divides to the scrutiny of outsiders, but they are determined to face it together. The clearing, the stream, and the vast prairie symbolize the duality of their existence, a world of beauty and freedom, shadowed by danger and uncertainty, yet filled with the promise of love fortified by courage and trust. The story begins in the vast, untamed expanse of the prairie, where rolling hills stretch endlessly beneath the vast sky, and the wind carries with it the scent of wild grasses and distant forests. The landscape is beautiful yet harsh, a reflection of the lives it shelters, lives defined by courage, resilience, and the quiet longing for connection. Eleanor, a young woman from a prominent settler family, moves cautiously along a worn trail near the edge of a stream. Her heart is a storm of emotions, heavy with a secret she can no longer contain. Though her family expects propriety, conformity, and a life governed by rigid societal norms, Eleanor has long felt a pull toward something wilder, something freer. Her world represented by Tayanita, the Apache warrior who has captured her attention, her curiosity, and eventually her heart. Their first encounter had been almost accidental. Eleanor, wandering beyond the safe confines of her family's property, had stumbled upon Tayanita while he hunted or tended to his people's needs. The meeting had been brief, but charged with an unspoken understanding, an instinctive recognition of each other's inner world. Subsequent encounters, though rare, had left Eleanor both elated and troubled. She was painfully aware of the gulf between her world and his, the difference in culture, expectation, and the danger of societal disapproval. Yet every look, every wordless exchange, seemed to weave a bond stronger than fear or convention until. This particular afternoon, Eleanor finds herself in a secluded clearing near the stream, a place where the wind hums softly through the trees and the water ripples over smooth stones, creating a rhythm both calming and alive. It is here, amidst the serenity of nature, that she plans to confront the truth she has hidden for so long. The familiar sounds of the prairie, the cry of a distant hawk, the rustle of leaves, the occasional splash of water, feel amplified, as if the earth itself is holding its breath in anticipation of what is about to unfold. Eleanor's chest tightens with a mix of fear and hope. She knows that confessing her feelings could change everything. The tranquility of these secret meetings, the tentative trust between them, and the safety her family assumes she enjoys. Tayanita appears silently, as if materializing from the very shadows of the trees. His presence is commanding yet gentle, radiating calm and authority. The moment their eyes meet, Eleanor feels the intensity of his gaze, steady and unwavering, penetrating through the layers of her doubt and fear. There is no need for words at first. The silence itself is eloquent. It conveys recognition, understanding, and an unspoken question that trembles in the air. Are you ready to risk everything for honesty? Her voice trembles as she steps closer, the words escaping in a barely audible whisper. I can't pretend anymore. I love you. The admission hangs in the air, fragile yet weighty, as if the world around them might shatter or shift with the truth. Eleanor's heart races, not from fear alone, but from the liberation of releasing what she has held tightly for so long. She expects hesitation, confusion, or even rejection, yet all she encounters is Tayanita's steady gaze, eyes that reflect not surprise but a profound mirrored emotion. His calm and deliberate attention assures her that her feelings are not unreciprocated, that the connection they share has always been mutual, even if unspoken. In that suspended moment, Eleanor experiences a sense of clarity and quiet joy she has never known. Tayanita's eyes, unwavering and intense, communicate acceptance, understanding, and an echo of emotions he has long concealed. No words are necessary. The connection between them transcends language. The clearing, the flowing stream and the open prairie seem to embrace their union silently, as though nature itself approves of the honesty and courage displayed. Eleanor feels a thrill of hope intertwined with the realization that her life has irrevocably changed. Confession has brought freedom, yet it also brings the weight of responsibility and the looming question of how their love can survive amidst societal boundaries, cultural divides, and the prejudices that shadow their world. The morning after Eleanor's whispered confession, the prairie seems unchanged, yet everything feels different. Sunlight spills over the rolling hills, glinting on the stream's rippling surface, yet Eleanor moves through the clearing with a mixture of apprehension and exhilaration. Her heart is full of hope, yet the reality of what she has just admitted begins to weigh on her. She knows that her love for Tayanita, however sincere, exists in a precarious space. There are boundaries that cannot be ignored. her family's expectations, societal prejudice, and the stark cultural divide between her world and his. Each thought is a gentle shadow over the joy of her revelation. Tayanita appears as silently as the day before, his movements fluid, deliberate, and almost ethereal against the backdrop of the wild prairie. There is no need for formal greeting. Their bond has already begun to speak in a language beyond words. He approaches her with careful caution, aware that each gesture carries immense meaning. His eyes, steady and deep, scan hers, and Eleanor feels the familiar warmth of understanding reflected back at her. In his gaze, there is acknowledgement of her courage, respect for her honesty, and a subtle invitation, a promise that their connection will not be broken by the outside world. Their first exchange of words after the confession is soft, careful, and deliberate. Tayanita speaks of trust, of patience, and of the quiet strength required to navigate the complexities of their lives. Eleanor listens intently, feeling the weight and sincerity behind each word. She realizes that this is more than a fleeting attraction. It is a meeting of hearts, shaped by experience, longing, and resilience. In him, she sees not only a protector, but a partner who values her spirit as much as her presence. She begins to understand that their love must be nurtured delicately, shielded from those who would never understand it, yet celebrated in the secret freedom of the natural world around them. The hours stretch into an afternoon filled with quiet companionship. They walk along the stream, their hands brushing occasionally, each touch sparking awareness and longing. They share stories of their past. Eleanor, of the suffocating expectations of her family. Tayanita, of the struggles and losses of his people. In this exchange, barriers slowly begin to dissolve, replaced by mutual empathy and a sense of belonging neither had anticipated. Eleanor realizes that she has never felt entirely herself until this moment, and Tayanita sees in her courage, insight, and compassion the qualities that have drawn him to her from the very first encounter. As the day wanes, a subtle tension enters the clearing. Eleanor is aware of the practical challenges that lie ahead, the disapproval of her family, the scrutiny of neighbors, and the inherent danger of associating too closely with a man from another world. Tayanita, sensing her unease, reassures her, not with grand declarations, but with steady presence, attentive listening, and small acts of care, collecting firewood, offering water, or simply standing near her so that she feels protected. These gestures speak louder than words, affirming his dedication and understanding, and Eleanor feels her fear slowly giving way to trust. The evening brings with it a quiet intimacy. The fading sunlight paints the prairie in shades of gold and amber. Sitting together by the stream, Eleanor leans slightly toward Tayanita, the space between them charged with both anticipation and restraint. Her heart, once burdened by secrecy, now beats in rhythm with the quiet courage of her companion. They do not need to speak. The shared silence is enough. Each glance, each subtle movement, communicates the depth of their emotions, reinforcing the bond that has grown between them. The days of quiet vigilance and careful harmony are shattered by a sudden and dangerous confrontation that tests the very core of Eleanor and Tayanita's bond. A group of armed settlers, emboldened by ignorance and rumor, ventures onto the prairie. With intentions far more hostile than before, their presence is immediately threatening, and the usually serene landscape seems transformed into a battlefield. Eleanor, sensing the danger, feels her heart tighten with fear. She knows that this is more than a challenge to her personal safety. It is a direct threat to the love she shares with Tayanita, a love that has already survived secrecy, prejudice, and misunderstanding. Tayanita, ever alert and composed, takes immediate action. He signals Eleanor to remain behind a grove of trees while he assesses the situation. Every movement is precise, controlled, and purposeful. He embodies the essence of calm courage. Eleanor watches from her hiding place, her pulse racing as she observes the warrior she loves navigate the tension with unparalleled skill. In that moment, fear and admiration intertwine. She realizes that her trust in Tayanita is not merely emotional. It is rooted in a recognition of his intelligence, foresight, and unwavering dedication to her safety. The settlers, unaware of Tayanita's motives or character, attempt to challenge him, questioning his presence and the nature of his relationship with Eleanor. The encounter is tense, charged with the potential for violence. Tayanita responds with measured authority, his words precise and his gaze steady, ensuring that his message is understood without unnecessary aggression. Yet the danger remains palpable. The settlers' intentions are unclear, and any misstep could ignite a conflict from which there might be no escape. Eleanor's heart pounds as she witnesses the delicate balance of negotiation, bravery, and strategy that defines Tayanita's every decision. Amidst the confrontation, Eleanor's own courage emerges. She steps cautiously from her hiding place, her voice calm yet firm, declaring her love and loyalty to Tayanita. Her presence reinforces the bond they share and demonstrates that their connection is not a passive or secret affection, but a mutual partnership capable of withstanding challenge and threat. The settlers, confronted with Eleanor's sincerity and Tayanita's unwavering composure, hesitate. The tension begins to ebb as both lovers, united in purpose and devotion, project a quiet authority that neither words nor weapons can break. Once the immediate threat recedes and the settlers withdraw, Eleanor and Tayanita embrace briefly, the relief and intensity of the moment washing over them. In the aftermath, the prairie returns to its natural rhythm, yet the encounter leaves an indelible mark. Eleanor feels a profound mixture of exhilaration and gratitude. Exhilaration at the depth of her own courage, and gratitude for the unwavering strength and protection that Tayanita provides. She realizes that love, when tested under fire, reveals its true character and power, forging bonds that are both resilient and transformative. In the quiet that follows, they return to the clearing that has become their sanctuary. Together they tend to small tasks, collecting water, preparing a modest meal, and observing the surrounding landscape. These simple, deliberate actions reinforce the lessons of the day: trust, cooperation, and vigilance. Eleanor notices how every glance, gesture, and unspoken word between them carries meaning, communicating the depth of their connection and their commitment to one another. The challenges of the day, though frightening, have strengthened their bond, proving that love is not only a refuge, but a force that demands courage, resilience, and active participation. The events of the past weeks have left Eleanor and Tayanita closer than ever, yet the world beyond the prairie continues to pose threats, subtle, insidious, and relentless. Eleanor knows that their love, though strong and tested, exists in a delicate balance, threatened by misunderstanding, prejudice, and the expectations of families and communities. Yet as dawn breaks over the rolling hills, casting golden light, across the prairie she feels a quiet determination. The trials they have faced have not weakened their bond, they have fortified it. Every whisper, every stolen glance, every shared moment of vulnerability has transformed their connection into something enduring and profound. On this particular morning, Eleanor rises early, eager to meet Tayanita in the clearing where their love first emerged openly. The prairie is serene, the wind gentle, and the stream sparkling under the first light of day. There is a sense of possibility in the air, a promise that despite the challenges, love can triumph. Tayanita arrives silently, his steady eyes reflecting both affection and concern. The weight of unspoken fears lingers, yet it is tempered by the unwavering certainty of their devotion. Their hands meet naturally, fingers entwining in a gesture of reassurance and unity. Together, they walk along the stream, speaking softly of hopes and dreams, and of the life they envision beyond the constraints of society and expectation. Eleanor shares her desire to bridge the worlds they come from, to honor her own upbringing while embracing the traditions and values of Tayanita's people. Tayanita listens intently, nodding with quiet approval, recognizing in Eleanor a partner, not only of the heart, but of spirit and intellect. They understand that love is not passive. It is an active, deliberate choice, requiring patience, courage, and unwavering commitment. As the morning deepens, they are reminded of the dangers that still linger from outsiders who do not understand or respect their connection. Yet rather than fear, they feel a resolute strength. The past confrontations, the rumor, the threat, and the hostile settlers have not diminished their trust, they have amplified it. Eleanor sees in Tayanita's calm determination a reflection of her own courage, and he sees in her steadfast heart a mirror of his own resilience. The realization dawns that together they are capable of confronting any challenge, because their bond is grounded in honesty, respect, and mutual devotion. The emotional climax arrives when they reach the highest ridge overlooking the prairie, the wind carrying their shared silence and the promise of freedom. Tayanita turns to Eleanor, his gaze unwavering, and in a rare moment of openness, he speaks of love not just as an emotion, but as a guiding principle. He tells her that their connection has transcended secrecy and fear. It has become a force of courage, inspiration, and purpose. Eleanor responds with equal honesty, expressing that she no longer fears societal expectations or the judgments of outsiders, because their love has become their sanctuary, their strength, and their truth. In this mutual declaration, the years of longing, fear, and whispered confessions find resolution, and a profound serenity settles over them both. They spend the remainder of the day in quiet communion with the land, reinforcing their bond through shared labor, storytelling, and moments of tenderness. Eleanor reflects on how far they have come, from stolen glances and whispered confessions to a love tested by danger, misunderstanding, and cultural divide. Each challenge has strengthened them, revealing the depth of courage, patience, and trust required to sustain a union that defies convention. Tayanita, in turn, marvels at Eleanor's growth, her resilience, and her willingness to embrace his world while remaining true to herself. The weeks following the confrontation with the outsiders bring a tense yet invigorating rhythm to Eleanor and Tayanita's lives. The prairie has resumed its quiet majesty, but the memory of danger lingers, shaping their interactions and deepening their connection. Eleanor has grown more confident in navigating the natural world alongside Tayanita, learning not just the ways of the land, but also the subtle art of reading human behavior, gauging intentions, sensing threats, and understanding the intricate balance between caution and trust. She has discovered a resilience within herself she never knew existed, and in Tayanita, she finds both protector and equal, a partner who respects her courage and intellect as much as her heart. Their love, once secret and fragile, begins to ripple outward in subtle ways, touching those around them. Some members of Tayanita's community observe Eleanor with curiosity and guarded acceptance, recognizing her sincerity and respect for their traditions. They begin to see that her presence does not diminish Tayanita's standing, rather, it reflects a union built on mutual understanding and commitment. Eleanor, in turn, becomes more aware of the intricate dynamics within the Apache community, learning the value of patience, honor, and the unspoken bonds that connect people across generations. Each interaction reinforces the notion that love, while intensely personal, can influence and inspire the broader world when rooted in integrity and respect. One afternoon, Eleanor and Tayanita journey to a ridge overlooking the prairie, where the land stretches in rolling golds and greens beneath an expansive sky. The tranquility of the scene contrasts sharply with the tension that lingers beneath the surface of their lives. Here, away from the clearing and the stream that have become their familiar sanctuary, they speak more openly of their hopes, fears, and the life they might build together. Eleanor confesses her anxiety about the future, the possible disapproval of her family, the unpredictability of the settler community, and the challenges inherent in blending their two worlds. Tayanita listens patiently, his steady gaze a calm anchor amidst the uncertainty. He reassures her that love requires courage, and that together they are capable of navigating whatever trials arise. Their conversation naturally shifts toward compromise and strategy. They discuss ways to maintain secrecy when necessary, while also building trust and respect between their communities. Tayanita emphasizes the importance of mutual understanding, of respecting Eleanor's upbringing while honoring his own culture and responsibilities. Eleanor, encouraged by his wisdom, begins to realize that love is not simply an emotion to be expressed in private moments. It is an active, deliberate practice, requiring negotiation, patience, and the courage to make difficult choices. In this reflection, she recognizes that Tayanita's strength lies not only in his physical skill or bravery, but in his unwavering commitment to honor, fairness, and the protection of those he loves. As the sun dips toward the horizon, casting warm light over the prairie, Eleanor experiences a quiet moment of clarity. The world around her is unpredictable and often dangerous, yet in Tayanita's presence, she has found a sense of purpose, belonging, and clarity of heart. She understands that their love, tested by secrecy, danger, and cultural divides, has become a source of resilience, a guiding force capable of shaping their decisions, actions, and future. Tayanita, too, reflects on the transformation within Eleanor, admiring the courage, intelligence, and integrity that she brings to their relationship. Their shared experiences have created a partnership built on mutual respect, trust, and unwavering devotion. The sense of cautious harmony that Eleanor and Tayanita have cultivated is suddenly disrupted by a misunderstanding that threatens to unravel the fragile trust they have built. A traveling settler, unaware of the depth of their bond, spreads rumors about Eleanor's presence with Tayanita, hinting at scandal and impropriety. Eleanor hears the whispers first from nearby neighbors, their words laced with judgment and suspicion. Fear, shame, and frustration surge within her. She feels the weight of two worlds pressing upon her, the rigid expectations of her family and the complexities of the Apache community. The conflict is not violent, but it strikes at the heart of her love, testing the foundations of the relationship she has fought so hard to nurture. Tayanita senses Eleanor's unease immediately. His steady eyes, which have always been a source of reassurance, now carry the weight of concern. He understands the subtle, insidious threat that gossip and misunderstanding can pose, not only to Eleanor, but also to their shared sanctuary and the trust they have painstakingly built. He approaches her with calm authority, his presence alone signaling safety and steadiness. Yet, Eleanor cannot shake the fear that she might lose him, that a single misjudgment could destroy the fragile equilibrium they have achieved. Determined. To confront the issue, Tayanita suggests they go to the clearing, their private sanctuary, to speak openly and honestly. As they walk together, the prairie seems more expansive, almost intimidating in its openness. The wind brushes against their faces, carrying a sense of both freedom and exposure. Eleanor's voice trembles as she explains the rumors she has heard, the fear of being judged, and the anxiety that their love might be seen as transgressive. Tayanita listens without interruption, absorbing her words fully, understanding not only the explicit concern, but the deeper emotional turmoil beneath them. The clearing, Tayanita takes Eleanor's hands in his touch firm yet gentle. His steady gaze meets hers, and in that moment, words become unnecessary as well as powerful. He reassures her that their love is founded on truth, respect, and courage, not on the approval of others. The rumors, he explains, are born of ignorance and fear. They hold no power over the bond they share if they remain honest, united, and vigilant. Eleanor feels a surge of relief, but the lingering fear of social scrutiny is not entirely erased. She realizes that love in their world is not just emotional, it is an act of courage, requiring vigilance, patience, and constant reaffirmation of trust. To strengthen their bond further, they engage in shared tasks that reinforce both trust and intimacy. They prepare a small area of the clearing together, gathering water, tending a fire, and observing the prairie for signs of intrusion. These actions are practical, yet profoundly symbolic. Each movement communicates commitment, cooperation, and the willingness to protect and support one another. Eleanor observes Tayanita as he scouts the surrounding area, noting his meticulous attention and foresight. She begins to appreciate the layers of skill and wisdom that define him, not merely as a warrior, but as a partner capable of guiding and safeguarding a shared life built on respect and mutual reliance. As the sun dips, low, casting long shadows across the prairie, Eleanor reflects on the events of the day. She recognizes that the misunderstanding, though painful, has illuminated the strength of their connection. The crisis has forced them to communicate more openly, to confront fears, and to reaffirm the principles that underlie their love. In Tayanita's unwavering presence, she finds both comfort and inspiration. Their whispered promises, steady gazes, and shared actions become a bulwark against the uncertainties of the outside world. The days following the confrontation with the settlers bring a delicate balance of relief and tension. Eleanor and Tayanita now understand the precariousness of their love, how easily it could be threatened by misunderstanding, fear, or prejudice. Yet, within that tension, their bond grows stronger. They are no longer merely two hearts drawn together by secret attraction. They are partners navigating a world that refuses to bend to the simplicity of love. Every glance, every gesture, and every shared moment carries new significance, imbuing even the quietest interactions with depth and meaning. On a crisp morning, Eleanor joins Tayanita on a path leading to the higher slopes of the nearby hills. The air is fresh, carrying the scent of sagebrush and wildflowers, and the soft crunch of grass underfoot creates a rhythm that seems to mirror their own hearts. As they walk side by side, Eleanor reflects on the events that have brought them to this point. Each challenge, the whispered confession, the silent gazes, the confrontation with outsiders, has revealed not only her own courage, but also Tayanita's unwavering strength and loyalty. She feels a profound admiration for the man who loves her without compromise, who communicates his devotion without words, and who navigates danger with calm precision. Their conversation turns to the future, a subject fraught with uncertainty. Eleanor speaks honestly about her fears, the disapproval of her family, the potential backlash from the community, and the cultural divide that separates them. Tayanita listens intently, his steady eyes never leaving hers. He acknowledges these realities, yet he frames them not as obstacles, but as challenges they can meet together.
His words, measured and sincere, emphasize the importance of trust, patience, and strategy. Eleanor realizes that love, in its truest form, is not merely about passion or emotion. It is about commitment, resilience, and the willingness to confront
adversity together. As they reach the crest of a hill, the prairie stretching endlessly beneath them, Tayanita pauses and gestures toward the horizon. The landscape is vast and untamed, a reflection of the freedom and danger that coexist in their world. He speaks of the lessons taught by the land, its need for respect, observation, and understanding, lessons that mirror the principles necessary to nurture their love. Eleanor listens, absorbing the wisdom, feeling a sense of belonging and harmony that she has never experienced in the rigid confines of her former life. The prairie, once a place of curiosity and longing, has become a sanctuary of insight, courage, and shared purpose. Later, near the stream that has become a symbol of their intimacy, Eleanor and Tayanita engage in subtle acts of care and connection. She observes him checking the surrounding area for safety, while he gathers firewood and prepares a small meal. Every movement carries unspoken meaning, the desire to protect, to provide comfort, and to reinforce trust. Eleanor reciprocates in her own way, tending to small tasks, offering water, or simply remaining present, attentive, and aware. In these shared actions, love manifests not in grand gestures, but in quiet, deliberate care, a testament to the depth of their connection. The sigh. Afternoon is punctuated by moments of reflection and laughter. Eleanor recounts small stories from her childhood, tales of curiosity and mischief, while Tayanita shares the rich traditions of his people, the songs and customs passed down through generations. These exchanges deepen their understanding of one another, revealing shared values of courage, respect, and loyalty. Eleanor feels the widening of her world, a merging of two cultures and perspectives that had seemed impossible just weeks before. Through these moments, she discovers that love is not a surrender to emotion alone. It is a bridge that spans worlds, building understanding where once there was distance. As the sun dips toward the horizon, painting the prairie in shades of amber and rose, Eleanor and Tayanita sit in silence, hands intertwined, hearts synchronized. The challenges of the outside world remain, looming like shadows beyond the hills, but within the sanctuary of their connection, there is peace. They have confronted fear, proven their courage, and forged a bond resilient to judgment and danger. Part 5 closes with the realization that love, once tested and embraced, becomes a source of strength, a force capable of guiding two hearts through adversity, uncertainty, and the unpredictable wilderness of life. The calm days of shared walks and quiet intimacy are soon replaced by the tension of an unforeseen crisis. News reaches Tayanita's camp of an approaching threat. A band of outsiders, armed and hostile, is moving toward the prairie. Their purpose is unclear, but the whispers of fear and violence are enough to rattle even the usually unflappable warrior. Eleanor, sensing the gravity of the situation, feels her heart tighten with anxiety. She realizes that love, while profound and liberating, also carries the burden of vulnerability. To be united with Tayanita means to share in the dangers that surround his world, a world she has only begun to understand. Early that morning, the two meet at their clearing, the prairie bathed in the soft glow of dawn. Tayanita's eyes are steady, yet Eleanor notices a tension in his jaw and a subtle alertness in his posture. He explains that the outsiders may pose a threat not only to him, but potentially to her as well. There is a weight to his words, a gravity, that underscores the real danger of their union. Eleanor, despite her fear, feels an unexpected surge of determination. She understands that true love is tested not in the ease of tranquil moments, but in the crucible of adversity. Together, they begin to prepare. Eleanor observes Tayanita as he assesses the terrain, predicts movements, and identifies safe paths. She follows his instructions carefully, learning the ways of the land, the signs of approaching danger, and the subtle signals that indicate caution. In these shared preparations, trust deepens. Eleanor realizes that her love for Tayanita requires more than emotion. It requires courage, attentiveness, and a willingness to face uncertainty alongside him. Tayanita, in turn, is impressed by her resolve, her willingness to embrace the challenges of a world so different from the sheltered life she once knew. As the day progresses, distant hoofbeats and the echo of voices confirm their worst fears. The outsiders are drawing near. Tayanita signals for Eleanor to remain hidden while he moves closer to observe. She obeys, hiding behind a thick grove of trees, heart pounding with anticipation and fear. From her vantage point, she watches him navigate the prairie with a combination of stealth and authority that is mesmerizing. Every movement is deliberate, calculated, and protective, not only of himself, but of her. In that moment, Eleanor sees the full measure of his strength and dedication, and her admiration deepens into awe. When the outsiders enter the clearing, tension mounts to a palpable intensity. Tayanita confronts them with calm authority, communicating, through gestures and concise words that command respect and demand distance. The strangers, unaccustomed to the warrior's composed presence, hesitate. Eleanor, hidden but attuned to every sound, experiences a mixture of fear, pride, and relief. The encounter becomes a test not only of Tayanita's skill and courage, but also of their shared understanding and ability to act in harmony. As the threat eventually retreats, Eleanor emerges from hiding, rushing to Tayanita's side. Relief washes over her, mingled with a newfound appreciation for the reality of their love. This crisis has revealed that their bond is more than desire. It is a partnership forged through courage, trust, and shared vulnerability. They sit together near the stream, hands intertwined, speaking softly of the lessons learned. Eleanor feels a profound shift within herself, a growing confidence, a deeper sense of belonging, and an unshakable trust in the man who has chosen her heart as fiercely as she has chosen his.